All right, we outside. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me know, let me know, let me know. All right. So we're hanging outside tonight. Have a good show planned for you. Um, Talking about the Colorado Buffaloes and the keys to victory. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hit the like button on your way in. Don't forget to check out our new shop, What She Said Sports Gear. Click the shop or store button on the main page for the channel. Just look down underneath where you see like, subscribe, share. You'll see store or shopping. Just check it out. It's coming together nicely. All right. So put together a good show about Colorado. So the other day, thank you, LaFrance. The other day, after we lost miserably to Georgia Tech, a game we obviously should have won, I put together what the Buffs need to do. That's what I call it. What the Buffs need to do, right, for Delaware. And to be honest with you, it's not really about Delaware. This game is not about Delaware. This game is about Colorado, not defeating Colorado. This game is about change for the long run, permanent change, the identity of the team. It seems like the identity of the team is in crisis, but it shouldn't be, right? We went 9-3 last year, 9-4, whatever it is. We won more games than we lost. We got to a bowl game, and that didn't go so well. But we did have games that were perfect almost, right? Nothing's perfect, but we had some well-planned games. We had what I call balanced games. And we're going to take a look at what the play calling needs to reflect, right? So first and foremost, I found this on Georgia Tech's page. It said 3.7 million people tuned into the Jacket season opener, which means just like last year, everybody versus Colorado is their Super Bowl. Colorado is their Super Bowl. Why? Because they don't always get these types of views. Now, maybe Georgia Tech does because they play in the ACC and they might have some good coverage. But we're getting ready to play Delaware. They're excited about it. I heard sounds like their head coach, say that this could be one of the more engaging and exciting games that they play, the environment that they're going to, because, CU is that school, right? And they're coming to Boulder. So shout out for 3.7 million views. Would have been nice had we just played ball like we did last year with the same OC and won that game. Y'all have no idea how huge it would have been for CU to win. So now we're getting ready to play Delaware at home. It's an easier game, right? And JuJu is ready to make his debut, right? And he had a cute Starbucks commercial for the Starbucks on campus. And let's just be honest, right? A lot of people love this kid just like they love Shador. The aura, the likability. And it's not to say that they don't like Kaidon, but JuJu is like Shador. When it comes to social media, he's taking it by storm. All of the endorsements. Whereas Kaidon, in my opinion, is a little quieter on social media, but he wants to go to the league. So in my opinion, he does need to ramp it up, right? So we're expecting to see JuJu play. We don't know when, but we know he's going to play. I'm not surprised by that because I feel like with Coach Prime naming Kaidon Salter the starter, that just so soon, 2 weeks ago, a week ago, that it meant that JuJu wasn't ready to lead, and an easier game kind of slowly but surely, gets him in the groove of taking over for next year. So it was a good move for JuJu to reclassify and come out this year, play behind Kaidon, and he can get into some of the games like the Delawares, or when we get the score up, he can come in and take over, which means by next year, he'll be the starter. And that's what we want. We want to groom him for the starting position. If Coach Prime thought he could start, 1, he would be the starter. 2, not only would he be the starter, he would have played in the Georgia Tech game. The fact that he didn't put him in because of the flow of the game, which people didn't really like that, tells you he knows he has to protect Kaidon, and he knows that he has to protect JuJu, and that he knows Kaidon wasn't protected. And yesterday, I think it was Charmaine or somebody was saying in the comments that Coach Prime, they didn't like watching Well Off Media because it's like they were yelling at the players, and you could hear Coach Prime asking, "Do you want to be here?" And I'm like, well, he must have been talking to the O-line on the right side, because 55 and 53, they need to answer the question. So we're going to look at some footage that I curated so y'all can see why I said just leave JuJu on the bench, because you got some problems you need to fix. But, he going to be playing in this game. I heard Coach Prime say it. I read with his comment. I can't just throw him out there. I can't throw this kid out there. I have to protect him. He has to protect Kaidon, and he has to protect JuJu, right? So 3.7 million people saw us struggle with our identity with a OC who called plays that should have been easy for him, right? Meaning it should have looked more balanced like this. This is from the UCF game. Do you see this? We both had over 400 yards, right? But what was the difference? We capitalized off the turnovers. That was the difference. Rushing yards, we had 128. They had 177. 128 yards, 290, 300 yards in the air. That's Colorado's identity. That's what we established from year one versus TCU, versus Colorado State, versus Nebraska. A heavy air game with a running game. That's a balanced game for CU. 120, 130 yards. I'm not trying to see CU run the ball for 350 yards with 100 in the air. And that doesn't even fit our recruiting, because we have an elite wide receiver core. So I expect Pat Schumer to call a game like this. And because he was the OC last year, why he didn't do this is beyond me. Why he's trying to change the identity to be all run heavy. This ain't Cleveland. We don't even want that. And Shadour's not even the right system for that, because they're going to underutilize him too. But it seems to be that's the struggle, right? And again, I don't know why Coach Prime would allow him to go with I guess he was trying to get 300 yards on the ground, because he wasn't trying to get it in the air. That's not Colorado's identity. When we played Kansas, remember that horrible game? That was Kansas' identity. They had 300 yards on the ground and 100 in the air. That's not Colorado. That's not Colorado. Yeah, we have wide receivers because we have a heavy air presence. So protecting JuJu and Kaidon is number one. So let's get into the keys of the game, right? First and foremost, you need to replace the offensive coordinator. I see that didn't happen. So they better call a balanced game. That's a close substitution. And when I say balance, I mean what you just saw with UCF. I want a heavy air presence, and I'll take about 130, 140 yards on the ground. But I want you to capitalize off the defensive hard work and go out there and get some touchdowns or some field goals. Do something with those turnovers. See, people want to say, oh, it was the first game. No, it's not. Because it tells you, if that was the first game, that's the pattern that Pat Schumer wants to follow all season long. Where does he think he is? You can't just totally change the identity because Shedeur gone. I mean, look at who CU was year one. Look at who we were year two. Why would we switch it up in year three? Just because we're adding a run game does not mean we subtract the wide receivers and the quarterback. When you look at the personnel that we brought in, a dual threat QB, elite wide receiver core, then that should tell you we plan to keep the same identity. A heavy air game with about 130 yards on the ground max. We're not trying to sit there and watch. We don't even have the ability to run the ball for 330 yards. I don't see it, because that's not what we plan for. That's not even the kind of running backs that we have. So replace the OC. It did happen. So let's call a balanced game. Hence the UCF game. That's what I expect to see. It says, that's number 2. Same thing. Call a balanced game. I even said it, like the UCF game. It said play chess, not checkers. Okay. You see all of these predictable plays, these freaking bubble screens and these inside runs. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that in the NFL. I don't want to see it in the UFL, and I don't want to see it with Colorado, and I don't want to see it in college. What is the purpose of that? What is the purpose of that? We trying to get a yard or two. Why we running to the side? And if we run to the side all of the time, Aren't they going to know we're going to run to the side? The play calling was predictable. The last time we had play calling that was that predictable, Sean Lewis was the OC and he was selling up the river, it seems. It said overuse of inside runs and bubble screens must absolutely stop. Absolutely stop. I don't want to see it. Micah was doing well running up the middle. Then when that was working, when he was getting about 8 yards a game, 8 yards a play, Schumer dialed him back and had him running these inside runs and these bubble screens. Everything that was working, they pulled the plug on. It said, get the quarterback in rhythm and early. Right. So, okay, this is what I expect to see. And this is what is typical in football, right? The first few drives, you get the ball handoff to the running back because you're just trying to get something going a little bit. By the third down, you start passing that thing, right? He needs to be in rhythm because he's a deep ball thrower, just like JuJu. So I need to be in rhythm to throw the ball. You can't expect me to lob a ball 77 yards or 50 yards, and all I did was hand it off to Micah. And it says, get the wide receivers, the tight ends, and the QB's legs involved. You have to get the wide receivers and tight ends involved. That's the identity of CU. And I don't know why in year 3 we're struggling with the identity. That should not be the case. We know exactly who we are in year 3. What we expected to see in that game was our wide receiver core dominate Georgia Tech. But for some reason, Pat Schumer just wanted to do his personal thing that didn't fit Colorado. And that's why he shouldn't have a job. You had us to lose a game because you called a game for a team that's heavy on the ground, and that's not CU. It says utilize Salter as a dual threat and not a game manager. Right. This is not Cleveland. We don't have no Dylan Gabriels. JuJu is not a Dylan. Kaidon is not a Dylan. Hell, Ryan Staub is not a Dylan, and neither is Ponder. We have 4 capable quarterbacks. And we need to see them in this game. The other 2. Not Kaidon. We need to see Kaidon first. We need to throw JuJu in there so he could get comfortable. And we need to let Ponder and Ryan Staub play if we can get the score up. If we can dominate in the first half, we need to see Ryan Staub, JuJu, and Ponder in the second half. It said the OC play calling, the DC play calling for the run defense is poor. Again, first and foremost, you got to get the defense off the team. That's off the field. That's number 10. So the question is, if Colorado's offense took advantage of the drives, whether they scored or not, instead of just doing 3 and out, we actually making something happen where we getting first downs. We allow the defense to catch their rest because that's part of the strategy, right? We allow the defense to catch their breath so we get some first downs, whether it's short passes, long passes, whether it's handoff to the running back. We capitalize and we extend plays on the ground for the offense. If that had happened, could you say the run defense would have been better? Because some of the analysis that I read said that CU's defense tapped out. I agree with that. Out the gate, CU's defense did what it needed to do. It forced 3 turnovers. And then we didn't do nothing with it. And they had to come right back on the field. And the rest is history. And again, Pat Schumer knows better. See, people want to give him a chance at this to mess it up again. When after 23 years of coaching, that man knows that it's a strategy to wear out the defense if you don't let them rest on the side. If you keep the defense on the field, you know what's going to happen. So, number 10, keep the damn defense off the field. 11, timeouts. People are still upset about the clock management, the timeouts not being used properly. I don't think there's an excuse for it. You can't just give up because that's what it is. You can't just give up because we at the end of the game and it don't matter because we're not going to win anyway. I'm assuming that's what it was because otherwise it don't make sense. And number 12, y'all tell me what we missed. What did we miss on this list right here? What did we miss? If there's anything else that needs to be done that's not on this list, what is it? I mean, I feel like I shouldn't have to say rotate the players because I felt like they rotated the players, but maybe I'm wrong. I heard that that's something that they want to do. I don't know why they didn't do it. Again, we have a blueprint. You take the first 3 games of year 1. You take the 9 games that we won. You learn from the 3 or the 4 games that we lost. And then you start off year 3 with a bang. You had all offseason to prepare for Georgia Tech, and that was the best you could do. So let's take a look at this video that I put together. And I'm telling you, this is why it's not going to matter if JuJu plays, because they got to get this right. All right. So there's no volume. I'm going to be talking over this video because I'm going to be pointing out some things. Okay. I'm over here a little bit to the left, and I'm going to let it play more than once. Okay. All right. As you can see, all right, that was a pass play. All right, right here. I think this is the play. I want you. That's Kaidon. Kaidon is by himself. I don't see nobody blocking for Kaidon, and he don't have no help. No help. Where the lineman? On the other side? Honestly, let's talk about that. I don't know what kind of play this was. Maybe it was one of those plays where you fake out somebody and all of the linemen are on the other side so that you can't tell what's going to happen, but he didn't have nobody. And now right here, did y'all see the guy in the white? Look at, is that 53? Look at 53. Look at the linemen. These are your linemen. Who's this back here? Is that 55, 56? Look at these linemen right here. Look at where they are as opposed to the people they supposed to be blocking. That's Kaidon on the ground. That shouldn't be like that. That's why it's not going to matter if it's JuJu or Kaidon. Let's start over. Just start over. Let's just pay attention. All right. So the first play, it looks like there was a sideline pass. That's not the play that I'm worried about. Okay. So that's Colorado. That's Haynes King stepping back. That means Colorado is on defense. He throws the ball, and it goes to the side. Coverage. That's all I see. So we're not worried about that. Now we get ready to switch to offense. Okay, look at the lineman. That's Kaidon. Kaidon runs off. Everybody must go to the right. He trying to get somebody open. I thought that was a good juke that he did right there. Guy slipped on the turf, and he had to go out of bounds. He didn't have nobody to block for him, so he could have time to throw the ball. See, that would be a throw where they say Shedeur is holding on to the ball too long. But the problem is I don't have nobody blocking for me. I'm like, where the people that's supposed to be blocking? That's what get me. I'm like, shouldn't we see how is he supposed to be able to run? And this is why I say he needs to stop running to the right. There's no right tackle over there anywhere to help block for Kaidon, to give him time to set his feet and throw to somebody that's in the end zone. We're going to watch this again. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we're going to move on to the next play. I'm just going to start it over. So, the first one is Haynes King on offense trying to get to his wide receiver, and CU has good coverage. Then it's Kaidon trying to roll out to the right, which I say he need to stop doing because there's nobody over there. All right. Haynes King steps back. He trying to throw the ball. All I see is a bunch of white jerseys, so he had a lot of time to throw. Good coverage by CU. All right, now, here's Kaidon. There's Kaidon right there. There's nobody else from CU. Kaidon has to juke this guy right here. He slips and falls. Nobody for Kaidon to take a minute and set. There's nobody. Let me tell you something like that. A play like that, that's not going to help JuJu either. JuJu, I mean, he got to find a minute to, you see, he didn't have anybody over there to get these guys off of him. This is why I say he can't roll out to the right. It's not going to work. This is the kind of play I'm talking about, that it don't matter if it's Shedeur, it don't matter if it's Kaidon, it don't matter if it's JuJu. I have to be able to run away because I have nothing but white jerseys coming at me. There's no black and gold jerseys anywhere. That has to be fixed. So when Coach Prime said, do you want to be here? He must be talking to the people who are the right tackle and the right guard. Because where on earth are they? Where on earth are they? This is exactly what the Baylor game looked like. When Shedeur ran to the right, he was trying to set his feet to get somebody open to the right, and he had to roll back to the left. Because why? The same jersey number, but for Baylor, number 10 was coming at him because 67 didn't have any type of willpower to stop the man. He just let him go. So Shedeur ran back to the left. That's why I said, calling for JuJu, we got to fix this first. And I think Coach Prime knows, because when he said, I can't just put him out there, he knows. He knows he still has a problem at right tackle. How? I bet if Coach Prime was gone after this year, there would not be a problem at right tackle. I'm willing to bet good money on it. You can come back, watch CU play with a different coach, don't matter who it is. The right tackle going to be just fine. All right, let's keep it moving to the next play. I want you to keep your eyes on the O-line and watch Kaidon on the ground. Just pay attention. All right, so they're coming off the side. That's 53. All right. Look at the lineman. All right, see the guy in the white does a spin move. 53 is behind him. Kaidon is already being sacked. You see that? And look at this guy coming out the backfield or from the end zone. I don't even know what number that is. All I know is watch what happens with 53. Just watch. Just watch what happens. Like, that's just bizarre to me, right? Just watch it again. I'm going to let it play through so y'all can see. So, we get ready to pan over to the right. You're going to have Haynes King on offense. Now, watch this. All a bunch of white jerseys. So, he had all the time in the world. They created a buffer for him. Thankfully, Colorado defense had good coverage on this play. Kaidon runs off to the left. There's nobody to help him stop this guy who slips. Luckily, he slips. And Kaidon really didn't have time but to run out of bounds because, let's see. I didn't see no lineman. But then now you see the lineman. You see 72. Now watch this right here. Kaidon looked like he handed the ball off to the running back, and that was it. Watch the little spin move right here. Number 53 can't hang. The other number 58 in the back, in the end zone. He can't help. Kaidon didn't have no help. This is the play that I say right here. That's Kaidon falling to the ground. This man didn't have nobody to block for him. How is this supposed to help JuJu? Y'all ain't going to want to see it. You ain't going to want to see it. You're not going to want to see it. And I want you to know, Kaidon is not slow. He can get the hell out of there. There's no time. This is just like Shedeur with 2.5 seconds to throw the ball or move out the way. I'm trying to go through my quarterback progression, set my feet, find somebody open, and I have to use my peripheral vision and my vision down below to realize that I'm about to get sacked. This has to be fixed regardless of who the quarterback is, and this should not be happening in year 3. And to be honest with you, the first 3 games, it didn't happen. The first 3 games of 2023, year 1, it didn't happen. It didn't happen until Sean Lewis seemed to be in his feelings. But Sean Lewis is gone. And now we got a different OC. This year 3, it's still happening. It's still happening. And if Coach Prime was gone, I bet it wouldn't happen. Just like the first 3 games in 2023, it wouldn't even happen. So that tells you it's a rat somewhere. And I don't understand how Pat Schumer can see Kaidon keep getting sacked. Like, this is the 4th quarter, by the way. This is the 4th quarter, and this is happening. And the offense can't be tired because, I mean, they ain't really do nothing, right? You chasing people who you supposed to be blocking. I'm not ready for nobody to do a spin move. I can't keep up. They look like they didn't go through conditioning. They look slow. And I know they had good conditioning because we saw them. No excuses. There's no excuses. And if Coach Prime is asking people, do you want to be here? Just kick them out. I'm sick of this. Just kick them out. We asked that question after game 4, all the way to the end in year 1. The Nebraska game, year 2. The Kansas game, year 2. The BYU game, year 2. And now in game 1. There's no excuse for this. Their conditioning was top tier. There's absolutely no excuse for this. And that's why I say people thinking, oh, let's put JuJu in. Why? So he gets back too? So he can run out of bounds because he don't have nobody to block for him? I mean, every time I look at this, it annoys me because you could see at the beginning of this clip, all of the white jerseys protected Haynes King. And Colorado can't do this for their quarterback. So is it poor coaching? We know it's not conditioning. We know it's not that. Is it sabotage or is it poor coaching? Meaning they never learned how to properly block. I just can't believe it. Don't we have different coaches? So, going back to, I don't know, it's just going back to Kaidon Salter and the things that need to happen. I just feel like we ought to, it's just like an old song and dance. It's just like an old song and dance. Switching quarterbacks ain't going to help unless you're trying to tell me that the right side, who didn't protect Shedeur, don't want to protect Kaidon, but they want to protect JuJu. That's what you want me to believe? I mean, what the hell does that say? I don't like Shedeur. I don't like Kaidon, so I'm just not going to block. I'm sure some of those linemen don't like Haynes King. It might be one of them, but they still going to go out there and do their job. People said in year 1 or year 2, Coach Prime shouldn't have to be begging people to do their job. So to ask people, do you just not want to be here? I already said 55 should be on the team. That was the worst mistake you could make because I know 53 couldn't have performed this bad for him to be the starter. So let me see what y'all are saying. Hey, y'all, how you doing? Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Let's see. 73 of us hit the like button. So let's see what y'all are thinking. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hey, Queen, how you doing? Hey, Marlon, how you doing? $17-32, facts. It said they definitely need to answer the question. It said CP will groom JuJu to get him in the right situation to be successful. Okay, so you trying to tell me he gonna groom him so the O-line don't matter on the right side? And that means he need to run to the left. He need to groom Kaidon because that's who he brought in as the quarterback. See, all of this preference for JuJu without realizing the situation you putting him in. See, Coach Prime, no, he said it. I can't just put him in there. That's why he didn't put him in the Georgia game. He know what time it is. Good evening, Dad boy. How you doing? Hey, Kiel, how you doing? It said they saw the play calling and tapped out. They know. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. It said, I remember Prime saying they're going to run the ball more this year. I was thinking with all the talent at wide receiver, that didn't sit right with me. And you know what? Here's my thing. And let's talk about this, right? I set up to share some things about some of the games that we played that we lost. I wanted y'all to see something, right? Hold on one second. If you're just not joining us, 3.7 million people watched the game. Georgia Tech posted it. Did Colorado post it? Maybe they did. I don't know. I maybe didn't see it. All right, let's see. I want to. Okay, this is the. Let's go with the UCF game, and we're gonna scroll over to the rest of them. All right, the UCF game is pivotal. Why? Because it's a balanced game with CU's air identity, right? And my thing is, Coach Prime being loyal to Pat Schumer don't make no sense to me because the NFL already knows who Pat Schumer is. I don't think they're trying to hire him for a job. It's almost like we had Shadua last year who had to call his own plays because Pat Schumer was trying to go with a ground game. Again, I don't know how he got through the door with that type of play calling mentality, right? I don't know how you get through the door with that. That's not CU's identity. So it points to what was Coach Prime thinking when he hired Pat Schumer? I mean, that's a real question that needs to be answered. Not because Pat Schumer not good, but even if he was good, the type of game plan that he likes to call and why it is that he's calling what he likes to do rather than CU's established identity of an air raid offense with about 120, 150 yards on the ground. Why is he not calling that? That's the part that I don't like because it seems like he knows, right, who we are, and he just chooses to ignore it. And that just don't make no sense to me. So as you can see right here, when you go down to the bottom, they lost 2 fumbles. We capitalized off of those. They had 2 interceptions. We capitalized off of those, right? Time of possession, damn near identical. When you look at the yards, 413 versus 461. They actually had more than us. 177 versus 128. If we could just call this what the Georgia Tech game should have been, and this what upsets me. Pat Schumer was right there as the OC. He knows this is who CU is. 290 in the air with 120 some odd yards on the ground. That's all you're gonna get. That's all you're gonna get. And to me, that's better than a negative 29 or 49 overall. But to have one receiver, the best receiver with only one target at 39 yards is sinful for this team's identity. And I expect Coach Prime to protect the identity of the program in terms of what kind of football we playing. And it's year 3, so it's already established. And I expect him to protect the recruits that he brought in. Jordan Seaton telling us what it is, and Coach Prime basically trying to say that's not it. How you going to deflect against what your franchise QB is saying? That tells, your franchise player, that tells me that you're more interested in making sure that Pat Schumer don't get the blame than you are for making sure that the players know that you got their backs. So that was just a change made in the portal. We were talking about when the portal opens up that some of the players are going to want to move on, right? Well, guess what? The oversight committee, that new committee decided to change the portal system. There's only one portal window, and it's in January. So for Coach Prime, that might be good because I know a lot of players see Colton Hood, SEC defensive player of the week, and he has a 90, 98, 92, above a 90 for PFF. They see that. They see he transferred. Some of them know why he transferred. And that's Colton Hood. Remember, he had a brother, Brandon, right? They both, I think, were at CU. He leaves and goes to Tennessee, gets to the SEC, they ball out. They see that. And we over here struggling in year 3. And Coach Prime, he really didn't love the man, but he did not do himself any favors by contradicting what Jordan Seaton said. So the portal moving back to January might actually help. Because hopefully by then we done got it together. Hey, Clara, how you doing? Thank you for the support. All right, so this is what I expect. And it's annoying to know that Pat Schumer was the OC that called this game. Now, this makes me think Shadua got us here. Or Pat Schumer called this game begrudgingly. And it seems because they said we were going to get the run game involved. How is this not involved? So we got to get to 177 yards to say the run game is involved? So the run game was involved. What's wrong with 120 yards when you got 300 in the air? Nobody ever said it has to be 177 and we didn't have it involved. But what we got to do, regardless of the run game, is capitalize like down here. They had 2 fumbles and 2 interceptions, and we capitalized off of something. Because as you can see, the yards are basically the same. But look at the score. Because we capitalized. And Pat Schumer didn't capitalize. So the run game not being efficient was a problem. The defense being on the field too long was a problem that led to the symptom of the run game not being good. But let's be clear. Our wide receivers weren't involved either, which is why JoJo Mama spoke up. So let's move on to another game. All right. This is BYU and Colorado. Okay. 36-14. Now, Shedeur was hindered in this game. Therefore, we only had just a little over 200 yards, 210, where they had 331. How many? That's the pet. No, I'm sorry. 330 overall plus 210 overall. Shedeur was 208. The run game only had 2 yards. I think Shedeur was sacked in this game a lot, if I can recall. We didn't get about 5 yards. Hell, they didn't either, right? Look how many first downs they had, 22. We only had 9. Why? Because Shedeur got sacked a lot in this game. A lot. So I don't know if he was calling his own plays and choosing not to run the ball. He was still trying to make something happen, like in the Rams game. I'm not sure how things happened, but he had 2 interceptions. But hell, they had 3. We didn't capitalize. But if you notice, they had the ball damn near 10 minutes more, 11 minutes more than we did. Right? Pat Schumer also the OC for this game. Pat Schumer knows that they ran 180 yards. Is that what we have to get to feel like we had the run game involved? I mean, we need to be better than 2. Why we only had 2, I don't know. Other than Shedeur kept getting sacked, I don't know. So that's the BYU game. So let's move on. Let's move on to something that's a little more balanced. All right. We all remember Kansas State game. Total yards for them, 423. For us, 359. This is where we had negative 29 rushing yards. 359. No, I'm sorry. 388 for passing for us and 238. So they ran about 185 yards. So is this the magic number? Y'all see where I'm going with this, right? Y'all see where I'm going with this? In the best game that we played, right here, how many yards did we rush for? 128. That's it. That's enough. Why? Because we 290 in the air. It's not going to ever be okay for CU to go out and recruit all of these elite wide receivers after 2 years of establishing yourself as an air raid offense. And because you had 2 yards against Kansas State and BYU, you had, how many was it? You had 2 yards against BYU. Kansas State, you had negative 29. And then against Kansas, you had 42. So you want to do better than that. And that's fine, right? Because you need to do better than that. I say you need to get around 100. But Pat Schumer seemed to have been going for what? What was he going for? 200? What was he trying to get? Because he didn't involve our wide receivers. He didn't let our quarterback get warmed up. As a 23-year veteran coach, you know if you're going to have an air game, you have to get your wide receivers involved and you have to get your quarterback early. He wasn't planning on it. That's my whole point. He wasn't planning on it. Why? We're not going to change our identity in year 3. Yeah, we need to do better than 49 yards, but we're not going to get 200 yards on the ground. We're not even set up for that. And that's my problem. There's a lack of alignment. And it has to be between Pat Schumer, Coach Prime, and the rest of the offensive coaches, including the wide receivers and the running back coach. Did Coach Prime let Pat Schumer call this type of heavy run game? even though he disrupted it, because we got Marshall Faulk, and hey, we don't bring in somebody like that for only 100 yards a game. I mean, how many yards is enough? How many yards is enough? We have an identity. The UCF game is our identity. We need to stick with it. But first, Coach Prime and Pat Schumer need to agree. They need to agree first. And that's the whole problem, right? They not in alignment. They not. They should be in alignment that when we get 3 turnovers, we need to capitalize off of it. We need to be in alignment that, hey, I'm not expecting no more than 120 yards on the ground. The rest is an air game. Get the quarterback involved early. Get the wide receivers going early. They have 3 O-line coaches. I think they got the main guy and 2 assistants, and they still got the wrong personnel on the field at right tackle who can't do their job or who chooses not to. Year 3 in a row. There's a lot of maliciousness, I would say, that has happened and that could be happening. But for year 3, with 3 offensive coaches, right tackle still has the same problem. He should have never brought back 55 from last year. Without 55, we would have had a chance to see if 53 was going to do his job. And if not, we move him out the way. And 55 shouldn't be on the depth chart at all. You saw how mad he was when they benched him, but he ought to know better. He did the same thing in the UCF game. The same exact thing. It's like he know if he trigger that penalty, it'll push us back when we get ready to score. If I can sit here and say that, he shouldn't be on the team. So when Coach Prime is asking people, do you want to be here? Is he talking to those guys? Because everybody else seemed to want to do their job. I mean, you got to give defense some kind of slack, considering that they barely got off the field. We didn't capitalize and slow the game down. So I just feel like it makes me upset because we already had an identity. We already had an identity. You can't change it because we're not built for that. We didn't even go out and recruit for that. Rushing yards, 331. This is what Pat Schumer want. Maybe he should go work at Kansas. This way he need to go work. Yeah, we should have more than 42, but this way he need to go work. We will never be this team right here. We bought in too many receivers for this. 331. You see how they only had 189 in the air? That will never work for CU. We got too many good wide receivers for that. And then there's Georgia Tech. Total yards, 305 for us. Passing 159. That's never gonna cut it. I can't even think of a game where Shador had 159 yards. Why would you switch it up all of a sudden? Why would you bring in a dual threat? And this is all he had. Kaidon, I told y'all, had the highest offensive score on PFF. And as you can see, he didn't even throw an interception. That's the interesting part. He didn't even throw an interception. Kaidon didn't even throw an interception. That's what's crazy to me. You would think he would have thrown an interception. Never threw an interception, just like Shador in the Rams game. I told you they're in the same situation. I hope you see it. Yards per pass, 6.8 for them, 5.5 for us. No interceptions from Kaidon. Rushing, 146. That should be the most we're going to get. Even with more rushing yards than typical, we still only had 305 total. So they 463. You see what happens when you go away from your identity? You see what happens We left 163 yards, 162 yards. We left 162 yards on the table that could have been used for the wide receivers. But Schumer didn't set it up that way. And it's not like he's new. Kaidon is new. And just the little clip that I showed you, Kaidon tried to make some things happen, but he didn't have nobody to block for him. How convenient. How convenient. And again, it's the right side. You think Pat Schumer don't know Kaidon run to the right side? And when it kept happening, and that was the fourth quarter, why did he change it to go to the left? Coach Prime knew enough not to put JuJu in because it wasn't going right. So why didn't they switch it up with the play calling like they did for the Baylor game? Because again, Pat Schumer was there. Whether it was his idea or Shadour's, we saw what the fix was to get the hell away from the right side. But he didn't do that. And this clip is the fourth quarter with 10 minutes left. So I hope y'all see why I say the keys to the victory is to protect Kaidon, protect JuJu, upgrade the play calling with a different offensive coordinator. Number 12, be in alignment with what the goal is. To get the wide receivers and the tight end involved early, to get the quarterback in rhythm early, regardless if it's JuJu or if it's Kaidon. When they both have their term, they need to get into rhythm. But number 12, I said, what is number 12? Question mark. To be in alignment about the identity of this program and what we're trying to accomplish in this game, and that the strategy is a heavy offense with maybe 120 yards, maybe 140 on the ground. But we don't leave 130 yards behind and settle for 305. That's never been this program. It said, Buffed and Prime reviewed all 22 film and said Schumer called a solid game. No, he didn't. No, the hell he didn't. I think he hired Pat simply because he was from the NFL. That could be it. That could be it. Or all we know, what we do know at this moment is that Pat Schumer was a recommendation, right? We knew Pat Schumer was a recommendation, and he came highly recommended. But who was he recommended to? Was he recommended to Coach Prime? I'm thinking so, right? The NFL connection from his good friend from Dallas, Mike Zimmer. But here's the thing, right? Why would he come so highly recommended if he doesn't fit CU's identity in terms of the way they run the offense? We needed Coach Prime to be protective of CU's identity in terms of how we run the offense. If we only had 2 yards in one game, negative 25 and 49, that meant we want to do better than that. That don't mean we want to shut down the wide receiver, the quarterback, and turn the quarterback into a game manager and try to get 330 yards on the ground. That's a total 360. And we didn't recruit for that. We did not recruit for that. Schumer's name recognition, it might be. It has to be, because it don't make no sense. It don't even fit Shador. Think about it. If Shador had to do all of this external to Pat, because Pat was going to run the ball, and the crazy part is it wasn't even working. And I noticed Pat got mad, and the crazy part is it wasn't even working. It's not that Shador didn't want to do it. Like in the Kansas State game, that last drive, I'll never forget it. Shador wanted to throw the ball, but the run game right before that was not working. So he had to throw it up, and that's when the pass interference came in. Or didn't come in. Primes needs to stop hiring NFL people. He needs to get hungry, innovative coaches that's ready to go. I totally agree. It said, may they have a great game this week. Yeah, but they're going to have to make some changes first. Can't just hope. You got to actually make change. Coach Prime posted about adversity. I'm like, yep, adversity is real, but you got to also move differently. You can't just sit there and say, well, I'm in a tough spot and pray to God and don't do anything. Faith without works is dead. You have to be realistic about what happened and fix it, because you have too many people entrusted to you. And now you got parents speaking out. Yeah, the portal might have moved to January, but that ain't good if this continues to bleed out. It said Colton Hood left due to how the staff treated his little brother. He would have stayed. Oh, Colton. I thought Colton was the little brother. I thought Brandon was older than Colton. Clara said, I'm already tired of Schumer. Not all Nola girl. It said, I know Coach Prime has a lot on his plate, but he got to do something. Schumer got to go. We're going to see how this Delaware game go. But the thing of it is, why would it change if Coach Prime said they called a good game? People running around saying Schumer called a solid game. Schumer did not call a solid game. Everybody knows that those bubble screens and those inside runs are too damn predictable and wasn't helping. That's not calling a good game. You see, there are people that want to say, oh, the players missed their assignments. Facts. And I see 53 and 55. But in addition to that, Pat Schumer didn't call a good game because he didn't get the wide receivers involved. And I know Coach Prime didn't tell Pat Schumer, okay, in year 3, Shador going to the league, so go ahead and rush for 330 yards. We ain't even built for that. Not when you bring all these wide receivers in. That ain't gonna never work. That's not gonna ever work. So, I just feel like, you got to be honest and make some change. And, his post about adversity. I mean, honestly, I think people just gonna get tired of hearing that. I just think people gonna be like, okay, but what you gonna do about it? Yeah, facing adversity is one thing, but you got to move different. You're not facing adversity just because Pat Schumer is a bad play caller. You're facing adversity again because you hired an OC that doesn't fit what it is you're trying to achieve. When it was Sean Lewis, he's trying to get Shador to the league. Am I right? Now that Shador gone, it's still a problem. So that tells you who you're hiring doesn't fit what you're trying to accomplish. We're not a 330-yard rushing team. You don't bring in a dual threat for that. That's a game manager. And JuJu's not that either. And his dad's not going to let him be it. It's good he got all them endorsements. I'm going to tell you that right now. What did JoJo mom said? She wanted to know why he wasn't getting no playing time. Because the wide receivers weren't being utilized. The Buffs are pissed off. It shows on their face. Yeah. And that's why practice was so solemn. He called out Salter mid-game and went against what Seton was saying, even though what he said made total sense, but refused to call out Schumer. Right. And that was a mistake. You can't do that. See, Seton is the leader of the team. If he go, they all going. I'm just going to, they're not going to sit up there and let Seton suffer when they see Colton Hood out here getting 90s and SEC player of the week. Them kids see that. That's why I didn't even want to look and see who liked it, because I knew it was a lot of Buffs. They're going to be like, I think I need to get out of here too. For Coach Prime to contradict Jordan Seton, he had to know what Seton said. Otherwise, you telling me you didn't listen to what he said. You can't contradict your franchise player. You call him franchise. And now you going to contradict the franchise? And even the fans are in alignment with franchise, but you not? Nah. I want y'all to understand there's a lot of pages that we don't look at. Why? Because their ideology on life is not in alignment with how we choose to live. Those kind of pages that like to put the flag up everywhere, yeah, they're loud. We just don't watch them. And I stumbled across one and quickly got the hell out of there. Because when I tell you the comment section was rife with it, ooh, talking about 13 percenters, I was like, oh, Lord, okay. It said Coach Prime brought him in as an analyst because he was living in Denver, which was close to CU. He was available because he had been fired from the Broncos. Wow. Once he demoted Lewis. I mean, you trying to tell me demoting Lewis at the end of the season, you had all off season to get somebody else, or you wanted somebody to come in. He could have just been intern. I mean, you needed a body. And did it have to be an NFL body? You have Brett Bertolone from Jackson State right there on your staff. You didn't need Pat Schumer. Pat Schumer must have been for a different agenda because Brett Bertolone is still right there on the staff. And now he's the offensive pass coordinator while Pat Schumer trying to run 330 yards on the ground that we're not even built for. That's what is irking me. Pat Schumer out here calling things because he wants to, and we're not built for that. That's not our identity. And he don't care. And that should be a problem for Coach Prime, but it's not. But it's a problem for Jordan Seaton and the rest of the players. And that's why I showed you this clip. So you could see that I don't care who the quarterback was. When the right side doesn't protect, and y'all saw Kaidon over there by himself, that ain't gonna help JuJu. Coach Prime gonna have to tell Kaidon what JuJu what he should have told Kaidon. Just run to the left. That's what I told Kaidon. I hope he saw it. I hope he saw it. Because he needs to study the CU game. I don't care what he think about Shedeur. If you want to survive and get to the next level, despite the fact that that's not what I want you to do anyway, you're going to need to run to the left, partner, because just in the fourth quarter alone, every time you try to go to the right or get out the pocket, you get sacked. It said they're real confused on what they want. There is no identity, and that's a problem. People going to blame Coach Prime for that. You heavy recruit wide receivers, but want to run the ball. It said, but don't have an O-line to do either effectively. And my thing is, what are we holding on to Pat Schumer for? What are we? I mean, Shedeur gone to the league, right? And it didn't work out anyway. What? We need him to help us get there for the next group? Or are we afraid to fire him because the NFL going to turn up? They're going to do that anyway. They trying to find Shiloh, who didn't even probably make $4,000. And if so, they trying to get all the money back from him. That's what I mean by cut bait. Whatever your agenda was for bringing Pat Schumer in, it didn't work with Shedeur. It didn't work in game 1. I don't know why it will work now. Because if you told him we got to do this, that, and the other for game 2, 3, and to 10 or 12, then you could have did that for game 1. See, I don't like when people take the first game and throw it in the trash. And that's what I feel like what happened. Oh, well, it was just the first game. It wasn't just the first game. It was a pivotal game. If we had played Delaware first, then okay. But we played Georgia Tech first. We should have been ready. It's common sense. Fire the OC. Some of these people can't understand common sense. It said it's not complicated. My concern is the failure of these young men trying to make the NFL. They ain't going to stay. They're going to get the hell out of there when that portal open in January. Did Pat Schumer name Harden when Prime asked who was performing to the standard in the early fall camp, or am I crazy? Who is Harden? Oh, number 55? Oh, wow. You know what's funny? When I was going through a lot of footage, and I noticed that I saw Pat Schumer talking to the O-line coach from last year. And I looked at that photo and I just shook my head. I was like, I guess maybe this is why he couldn't make no rotations. Somebody said, Coach Prime said everybody using somebody. I'm like, no, they using you. They using you. They using you. That kind of talk tells you. All you got to do is listen to him talk. That kind of talk tells you he knows that somebody is using him. He's saying everybody using everybody. No. They using you. They using you. Pat Schumer should have never been the OC with Brett Bertolone over there from Jackson State, and they won the SWAC. After 12 years, they won the SWAC, and you don't make that man the OC. Sometimes I think people felt like Coach Prime left Jackson State because he felt like Shedeur wasn't going to be a Heisman winner. And I'm like, I could see them blocking him from the stage for that, right? But then also, I could see the league shunning him because they see Coach Prime using their connections that they use to block people like Coach Prime. Oh, you think by bringing in NFL coaches that you're going to be able to have your way in the NFL? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And now that that's over and done with, you just need to move on. It said, good evening, what she said, sports and chat. It said, when Coach Prime was at JSU, he fired his OC. Each year he was there. The only OC he kept and brought with him to CU was Brett Bertelon. The players relate to him. So why is it that he just don't promote that man? It said Denver couldn't wait to get rid of Pat Schumer. And again, how did he come so highly recommended if he had just got fired? You see what I'm saying? I would be looking at Mike Zimmer like, but then again, you didn't do your homework. If they just fired him, why would you want him? They fired him for a reason. His resume speaks for itself. And the type of offense he like to run don't even work for you. So now you done brought him in, and Kevin Stefanski got Shador over there in the same situation that Kaidon in. And soon to be JuJu. And just like I said about Arch Manning earlier, I don't care about the next 3 games he played because they easy. I don't care about this Delaware game. You got to look at it when it's the U of H or this or Iowa State or KSU or A State. You got to look at it when it's some competition. But if we go out here and lose, Lord have mercy. That's all I'm gonna say. Or JuJu gets sacked like Kaidon did, or don't have anybody blocking for him, it's gonna be a problem. Didn't get the win, leaving 2 timeouts. Yeah, people didn't like that. People didn't like that at all. And they definitely didn't like his response to it. It said, who says Schumer called the solid game? People on a channel that hate on CU all day, that use the word buff in their title. A lot of people that have since blocked them. Because to be honest with you, it's like when CU first came along, a lot of people made channels just to, hop on the bandwagon. And I'm not saying that they aren't analysts, right? But a lot of people don't like them because they use the name buff, but then they trash the program. And for somebody to say, CU, Pat Schumer called a good game, they don't know what the hell they talking about. They don't know what they talking about. When CP said he called a solid game, I said, what game you watched? Facts. And it's crazy how he threw the damn defense under the bus. I'm like, it's going to be a long time before you get 3 turnovers again. Sounds like there's some bucket. Yep. That's what it's giving. It said when he's interviewing these coaches, he needs to break down what he wants and expects from the OC and the DC, so there's no confusion. The team is supposed to take on your identity. Right, and you would think this is not year 1. He came in the door knowing that the other guys wasn't going to work for the program. He wanted more people to apply effort. But did he use that same process with hiring coaches, or was it good enough that they just were in the NFL? Real question. Real question. And it didn't work for you. So I would just cut bait. I would just cut bait. If JuJu or Seton leave, it's a wrap. Seton gonna be gone before JuJu. It said, I was watching Schumer in the booth last weekend, and he seemed like he was lost or trying to do some underhanded mess. It said Cash Cleveland used Seton to get on with CU, and he used CU to get on with Texas Tech. Right. So when Coach Prime say everybody using everybody, what he talking about people on his level. Because if you talking about them dudes on the O-line, then you should have known that about 55, because I did last year. I said it. I'm like, is that number 55 from last year? And there's another one I thought. It's 2 of them. I'm like, how did he let them come back? And I was like, okay, they didn't make them starters. Not that that's good. But why did they let them come back? You let them take up space that you could have used for recruiting to get some solid players. I said the only reason you let these guys come back is if you don't believe that they were setting up Shador. But I bet you see it now. I bet you see it now. And going outside saying, and what he don't realize, he letting his emotions, he taking his emotions out on the players by yelling and screaming at them. And talking about the coaches this. It ain't the coaches. It's the coordinators. And he don't want to say it. The coaches he brought in with him, they feel some type of way that they're not being considered for OC. I would think so at some point, because Brett Bertelon is a good one. It said he's sabotaging his own team and judgment by protecting Pat Schumer. This will be his downfall if they don't make it to the Big 12 championship or get better win it, better replace him or fire him now. Hell, if they don't make it to a bowl game, and if you look at our schedule, U of H on, Wyoming might be your only, maybe. It depends, right? It depends. You protecting something that didn't work for you. And he know it didn't work for you because that wasn't your identity when he was here last year. But you're going to let him do it. I don't see any reason why. And that's going to be his downfall. Is people going to say he's not a good coach. He's an entertainer. Because when it comes time to managing the situations, you're not managing the situations. You're not managing the situation. You being defensive and you're contradicting your franchise player that you call franchise. That's the person you should be listening to. You willing to alienate the players to protect this man over here that's setting you up. Well, for what? He didn't even help at Shador. He needs to focus on these young men. That's what I said earlier. He got to actually, he going to have to choose the players or they going to choose somebody else. I agree. He has to explain why Bertolone is not an OC after being around Prime for a few years. I mean, this man in 21, which is when they went to the SWAC the first time, I do believe, help you get to the SWAC after a 12-year drought and you don't hire him. I'm like, it's got to be this whole NFL thing. He going to have to let that go. I'm like, you're going to have to let that go. Because they going to keep them and let you go. And then they're going to go get somebody else. I'm like, bro, how would you even try to cut for anybody from the NFL, especially Pat Schumer, and they trying to find Shiloh for $1,000? I wouldn't want to see nobody from the NFL. I wouldn't feel like I could trust anybody. And that makes me feel like a sense of delusion and like he's in denial that the NFL has turned on him. And maybe part of it is because I got players that want to get to the league. They ain't going to be there because you alienating them. Going against franchise? When I saw him in that clutch ad, I just felt like it was a regular ad. And then I start seeing JuJu and I was like, oh, wait a minute. All of these guys repped up now? Oh, And now we see why. Because it's been things going on behind the scenes. That's early for a freshman to be repped up. That's early. London Merritt repped up. Y'all know Seton can't go nowhere till next year. He got to finish this year first. They going to be in their ear. Yeah, they undercover haters. Facts. It said Belichick proved NFL to college coaching never works. Yeah, because he done decided, Belichick decided to restrict access to the New England Patriots to scout his players. I'm like, well, damn. That's crazy. You let Coach Prime, he would never. It's like Belichick is telling the NFL to go to hell, and Coach Prime is afraid to let him go. I'm like, bro. Roger Goodell is trying to block Shiloh from the NFL for life. I mean, that's probably what's going to happen anyway. NFL coaches are usually managers. College coaches actually coach. Just because you're from the NFL doesn't mean you're a better coach. And I thought we realized that last year. With that last O-line coach that we had, we should have never brought nobody back from last year. It said, did you see how the OC looked on the CU coach's interview today? Itching and twitching. No, I didn't even look at him. I don't even know why he's still there. I mean, you would think he would have resigned because the identity of the school doesn't fit what I want to do. So let me go do what it is that I want to do. I mean, Mike Zimmer went on tour with Coach Prime from Jackson State to CU, and he ended up in Dallas. Don't nobody want to get Shermer because remember, they had just fired him. I'm like, the game has changed. It's like he calling a game for the 70s when they didn't want to utilize quarterbacks. I ain't ready for Shador to leave Cleveland. Oh, Lord. That's a whole nother conversation to get back to tomorrow. But, you know, it's just one of those things, guys, where I wanted to point out what needed to change, but I also wanted people to see, you know, this is what needed to change. And number 12 is the alignment of the identity of the program. That's number 12. They're not in alignment. Coach Prime is just letting Schumer do Schumer, and I don't know why, because it's not going to benefit you. You ought to be able to see that. And if you out there talking about in front of the players that people using people, you ain't talking about the players unless you talking about 55. And you should have never brought him back. Like, he wouldn't even be on the team. Look how mad he was that he got benched. What you mad for? He ought to wonder if he get paid, because hell, that's what I said last year. So this is a lot that needs to be fixed. This is a lot here. This is a lot. This is for a first-year team, not a team with an established identity in year 3. Why Coach Prime is letting Pat Schumer do Pat Schumer, I have no idea. It's not going to work out for you because your players are not going to stay because you brought them in for offense that's not going to work. And that's what it is. A hot mess. It is. It's a mess, and it doesn't have to be. But I said it on X. It seemed like he's uncomfortable with holding Schumer accountable. It's like there must be some deal somewhere where Schumer gets to do Schumer in year 3, and I don't know why that would be. Personally, he should have been an interim analyst to help move out Sean Livingston. And after that, Brett Bertolone, in my opinion, could have been the intern analyst. I don't even understand where this NFL thing come from. I know, I get it. Some people was going to the draft. Travis didn't need it, right? I don't think Shador needed it. Shador wasn't number 1 overall because of Pat Schumer. He's talented. So, you know, that's what it is, guys. He got to fix this, and protecting the quarterback. I don't care who the quarterback is. You got to protect the quarterback. Kaidon shouldn't be out here on one side of the field by himself. How the hell is he gonna set his feet and throw the damn ball? Even if he throw it on the run, how the hell am I gonna try to throw on the run when I got nothing but white jerseys in front of me? It said Shador stole many wins from the team playing bad enough to lose. This squad must play clean even every game or they will lose. It said, Melissa, I noticed that the OC, that was weird how he was acting. Really, I didn't even watch him. Seems like Coach Prime isn't motivated since his sons are gone. I don't think that's it. I don't think it's because the kids are gone. To be honest with you, I think it's because Doc Livingston got his contract before him. I think there is some type of effort. There is some type of effort to maybe replace him with Livingston. And Pat Schumer is in on it because he probably going to have a job too. I think it's more about Doc being the guy that's up. And Coach Prime can't get rid of him. And now he can't get rid of Schumer. That's why it's almost like Coach Prime is becoming a figurehead. Like Schumer, if Schumer get to call his weird game again, that ought to tell you who's in control. I mean, he's not going to want to say that out loud, right? That's not something he's going to want to say out loud. But it feel like he's already lost control. You still don't have a run game. The right tackle still doing what they did last year. You got 3 coaches on offense, and the wrong personnel is still at right tackle. That guy should have never been brought back. Whose idea was that? Whosever idea it was to bring 55 back is not a good judge of character, person, situation, and they just naive. It was obvious what was going on the right side, and it's still happening. No excuses. None. Coach Prime scared the NFL when he mentioned LeVar Ball as inspiration for him using Archie Manning's tactics. What? It said these young men know the plays and they realize what's happening. Coach Prime is gonna lose them. Yeah, he gonna have to maintain control. It's not too late. You can right a ship, but he gonna have to hold Pat accountable. It said Pat originally was an analyst. He may need to return to his position. He just need to go home. He just need to go back, go home, live your life. He was there temporarily, and he should have been there temporarily. Maybe he shouldn't have been there at all. What did we need him for? Let's be honest. Brett Bertolone is right there. And that says something about loyalty. That says a lot about loyalty. Why did you bring these guys with you from Jackson State? let's be clear. The guy that's the head coach on the offensive line right now, his name is Gunnar White. He came from Jackson State. He had to go through 2 seasons with somebody else being the O-line coach. One person was an O-line coach in year 1. Then you had that guy from the NFL in year 2. And now Gunnar White in year 3. And he got 2 other people surrounding him. It's like they got 3 coaches. And they still got the wrong person on the field because somebody didn't understand that Shedeur was being set up by the right side. How do you not see that? We can see that from home. That's crazy to me. And when Coach Prime said we just couldn't protect Shedeur, that ain't true. Just like you might as well just say for the rest of the season, you can't protect Kaidon because it's the same situation. If you know the right side of your O-line is weak and you don't have no depth because they all scamming, then either go get somebody else or have your QB to roll out to the left. I mean, there's always a fix, right? So that's what needs to happen. For us to win, first we got to be in alignment about what kind of game plan we have. And Coach Prime needs to stamp the game plan because he's going to need to be responsible for it if it looked like it did last game. Secondly, we need to understand the identity of the team. We are not a 331 rushing yard team. We may be 120. Hell, if last year if we did 49, then double it or triple it, that's the best you're going to do. We got some of the same players from last year. One of the best ones we had is gone. Isaiah Agustave made more headway on the ground last year than anybody else, and he's gone. It looks like loyalty gets you nothing. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. They say he really doesn't want to piss Seton off. That's the last thing. Right. Like I said, for him to get out there and contradict Seton, I'm like, and then that's why people didn't like the press conference. And that's why I said he digging his coaching grave. You just contradicted your franchise player. The rest of the players see that, and they know what Seton means. And you're going to go against him to protect Pat Schumer, who threw the game. I don't understand what there is for protecting Schumer. Maybe we got to keep going up the road through a few games before it becomes clear. I know why Kevin Stefanski works for Haslam, because he does the Jim Crow work. I get that. Not that it's right, but I get it. But I have no idea. See, Coach Prime is in a situation he's in, so Kaidon doesn't fall through the cracks with somebody like Schumer. Understand, that's his role. You're here so that Kaidon doesn't fall at the hands of an OC with an agenda to ice out the QB, which is what's happening at other schools that don't have black quarterbacks. So, I mean, they have black head coaches. So you're a black head coach and you letting an OC with an agenda, the same type of agenda that's hurting your son in Cleveland. You holding on to the NFL, but they didn't let you go. You holding on to Schumer, and he threw that Georgia Tech game. That ain't going to be the last one. Delaware might skate through the cracks. But if the goal is to make Coach Prime look like he doesn't know how to lead a team, he's just a motivational speaker, it's going to continue. It's going to continue. So one of the first things that needed to happen was Pat Schumer needed to be restrained or replaced. Brett Bertolone should have been the acting OC for this game. And I heard they want to start that same bull crap that's happening in Cleveland. Kaidon is the week 1 quarterback. I'm like, why are you letting Pat Schumer do Cleveland in Colorado? That ain't even working for Shedeur. That's what I mean by the things Coach Prime is allowing Pat Schumer to do is exactly what Shedeur is facing. And Coach Prime has this job, a gift from God, if you want to look at it that way, so that it doesn't happen to Kaidon. You're supposed to learn from what's happening with Shedeur. Look at the connections. And he's letting it happen. Willing to alienate the team. It said truth. It said God with thine whole heart and let the chips fall where they may. Seton does seem to be a man of principle. Yeah, he and he come from a good family. You know, this not gonna happen. It said Coach Prime is possibly being colluded against. Remember when Prime said, "Don't let me get comfortable." Furthermore, should be successful at CU in Big 12. Know for sure the SEC is in sight. Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay, so here's the thing. Why would he go to the SEC if they're trying to kick him out the Big 12? I don't think they're trying to kick him out the Big 12. I think they're trying to kick him out the Power 5. Why would I go? Why would I have him to come? What, he gonna go to Alabama and replace their coach? They not even comfortable with black quarterbacks, including the 5-star that is buried somewhere over there. So why would he go? Where he gonna go to Ole Miss, South Carolina, Clemson, or they in the ACC? Where he gonna go in the SEC? Let's just be honest. Georgia. Here's the thing. If he wants to jump ship, whether it's to the NFL or whether it's to the SEC or the ACC, hell, I don't care if you go get Dan Lanning job. You got to be responsible to these players first, or that ain't gonna work for you. You already got parents speaking out. I don't care if Jimmy Haslam wants to replace you with Stefanski. That ain't gonna happen. But even if that's what it is, you can't turn your back on your players. You can't alienate your players. You can't go out here and holler and scream at your players every day, but not hold the play callers on both sides of the ball accountable. I even heard the wide receiver coach say, we all got to elevate the GAs, which must be grad assistants or something like that. Must be grad assistants or something like that. He said coaches, between the wide receiver coach not wanting to mention that the coordinators need to elevate and Coach Prime not wanting to hold the coordinators accountable, that should tell you that something has transpired, that you can't touch the coordinators. That's what I see. That's what I see. You can't touch the coordinators. And why is that? Honestly, why is that? It say trust God. Yep, you got to do it. But you also got to move different. I mean, in the crosshairs of the scope, meaning that the SEC is on notice. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I thought you meant he was going over there. I'm saying he opposed a threat to their coach. He does. He does. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows that this is Coach Prime's year. Everybody knows Coach Prime has never lost the first game. Everybody knows the wide receiver core was going to dominate. Why you think 3.7 million people watched the game? We know we got better. What did Coach Prime say multiple times? This team is better than the last. The Heisman could have came right back this way. Pat Schumer shut all that down. And why Coach Prime would let him be on a coaching show is crazy. He giving the man the access to get him fired. It's like he dragging Pat Schumer around like he gonna convince us that Pat Schumer's not the problem. We knew it was the problem before Jordan Seaton confirmed it. And now we see who the problem is. It said not that he should desire to go there. I get it. But I didn't know Pat Schumer was on that show. I don't even know why he would have him on that show. I don't know. Honestly, I haven't made it to the point where I am with Cleveland that I can see why Jimmy Haslam has hired Stefanski. I can see that clearly. But Coach Prime, it's not making no sense. And if it's not making no sense, then there's more to the story. That's what it means when something doesn't make sense to you. It's more to the story. It's more to the story. And I'm wondering if it has something to do with next year's draft. Well, if I fire Schumer, then maybe it's going to be hard for me to get these guys in the draft. But understand this. It's going to be hard for you to get them in there if y'all lose and go 4-8. If he lets you win the easy ones. If you go 6-6, don't go back to a bowl game, you're going to hurt their careers. When you align with Schumer, despite the obvious You're alienating your players, starting with the franchise. I think honestly, the only reason why you can't touch the coordinators is because I think the switch is in. I do. I think it is. Trojan horse. It said the Wolves will take over is given a slight opportunity. Yep. That's facts. It said Matt Chesney started talking down on Prime again. As a former Buff player and alum, he never saw Prime as a real Buff. I thought he wanted the offensive line job until he didn't get it. True, and don't believe Saban his hands off of Alabama because he spoke on it. Oh, yeah, they trying to get him back to help right the ship over there. So what does that tell you? If the new coach at Alabama is already on the chopping block and Sarkisian job might be threatened because Arch Manning not playing well, how much time you think Coach Prime got to get this together? If they trying to get rid of that coach at Alabama and they talking down our Sarkisian, Coach Prime don't have no time like he think. That's why Doc Livingston got that contract before he did. And when he say people using people, I think he's talking about the adults in the room. I don't mean that the students aren't kids. I mean the coaches. He ain't talking about them kids unless he's talking about number 55. But, I mean, you let him back on the team. He can't think everything is on the up and up with his coordinators. He can't possibly think that. If one doesn't keep control, you're going to lose it anyway. Right. It needs to realize Schumer has no pull in the NFL. Schumer can't won't even help Shador or Shiloh. Schumer is dead weight to Prime and CU. And Schumer has zero power in the NFL. I agree that. They are coming for Prime. I think they are behind the scenes. I said it. I said that was shiesty for them to give Doc Livingston that contract. That was already, they were already setting Doc up to be the predecessor. And look at how this year is going. And maybe Pat Schumer is eager to help because he'll have a job. And the lesson for Coach Prime is going to be the same NFL people that hurt Shiloh, that hurt Shador, hurt you. So technically the NFL could still be taking him down from a distance. It can happen, right? I mean, didn't they try to hurt the program in the draft? And you got all these NFL people. I told you, I don't really think they like that very much. I think it made Prime feel like he belonged. Remember, the fraternity of coaches is just that. How many black coaches are there now? 4. And who they trying to get rid of next? Either the guy in Pittsburgh, Tomlin, or the Texans head coach. They reducing the numbers every year, 2 by 2. They almost at 0. How many offensive coordinators are there that are black? 0. And you see what's going on with the quarterbacks. So if they were trying to manipulate the quarterbacks so they don't become the majority, if they have successfully zeroed out black offensive coordinators who work with the quarterback, then why the hell would I think bringing in coaches who was a part of that type of fraternity would work for me when they actually try to get rid of people like me and Byron Leftwich, who was actually a coach on their level, has a case moving through the courts alleging that the NFL is rife with racism. Of course it is. And now you have invited them into your hen house and they turn it on you. Choices. That's all it is. Choices. It's just choices. So the portal don't open to January. So the kids gonna have to stay put. This game is irrelevant. I knew JuJu was gonna play in this game, and y'all can see in the clip. It don't even matter if he don't protect the quarterbacks, regardless of who they are. When will we learn that we'll never belong in their league? Stop trying to get a place at the table. Right. And maybe they felt like, maybe they felt like he was trying to do like Alabama and Georgia. Those schools have pipelines to the NFL, right? We already said it. Oregon trying to get Dillon in there because it make the program look good because they already had a quarterback to move away from them when they lost that game to Ohio State. So obviously, Coach Prime knows that these head coaches like Kirby Smart, even though Georgia isn't having a good year, sometimes they still get 13 people in. Oregon try to get in more people. They lost a quarterback that don't look good for recruiting. But if I got Dillon on the Heisman stage and I got Dillon in front of Shedeur, then that's good for recruiting. I can get you to the league. Well, Coach Prime was using his legacy, right? And it worked. The Prime effect, he was using his legacy. But I think when he started using their coaches, a fraternity that he was never a part of, and trying to establish a pipeline to the NFL, I think that's when they clap back because they feel like he was trying to make himself equal or on par. He was never a coach. And they trying to get rid of people like you. So how could you trust that? That's it. I mean, I think that's it. When the jellyfish thing, when is it going to realize Sherman and others are out for him? I just want him to realize, and I think he knows. I think he knows that Doc getting that contract before him was setting Doc up to be next. But what he does not seem to understand is that Schumer is not on his side. Schumer going to cost him everything. His players. And you know what's going to happen? When things start to go south, because they already know when it's going to happen, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be embarrassing. It's going to be like trying to pull a tooth that just is loose for weeks and it just hurt. And then eventually it's gone. So for him to have Schumer on the coach's show, is he going to be the head coach next? I don't even think he will be the head coach next. I think it would actually be Doc Livingston. So why is he trying to prove to Schumer some kind of loyalty, some kind of stake in the game with CU? Why? He ain't doing CU no favors. So what is all of this holding hands with Pat Schumer for after that Georgia Tech game? What is that about? To the point you're willing to alienate franchise and the rest of the team. What is that about? Maybe we're going to find out this weekend. So we're going to get ourselves out of here. Again, sometimes when things don't make sense, it's because you don't understand the entire picture. As somebody pointed out in the chat, it don't look like for us that Schumer has any weight with all 32 teams. Maybe with Cleveland and the Giants, and don't nobody want to go that anyway, right? Maybe he got weight with them and the Saints and I don't even know about the Titans. But to be holding on to Schumer because he could help get the kids to the league, they going to get there on their own. It's just going to be at another school if you keep alienating them. Jordan Seaton is who he is, not because of Pat Schumer. Shedeur is who he is, not because of Pat Schumer. So that's not it. The only thing it could be is that he don't want to admit that he fired one coordinator, went out and got the NFL network. They turned on his sons, meaning it didn't work. And now he has to admit Schumer is not the guy, which means he has bad judgment, which means they're going to say he's not a good leader. He doesn't know how to manage a team. He knows how to get people there. But when situations occur, he just lets them bleed out. That's what they're going to say. D'Amico, Ryan, and Tomlinson. Yep. And Bowles, too. And you know what I said after Shiloh got gone? I said, you know what? It would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if he find out he gone next year. Todd Bowles, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Because I think they had 6 black coaches at the beginning of this season, and they got rid of 2, which means, and you see how they doing Tomlinson. And people are already asking what the hell is going on with the Texans, which means they're coming for the head coach. And they're going to try to get rid of 2 more. And then they're going to try to get rid of 2 more until it's at 0. They did the same thing with offensive coordinators. And the league is looking at it like, well, I got 9 GMs and that's a better position, so I'm not racist. That's all they care about. It's trying to not appear what? That's all they care about. They don't care about nothing else. They just want to stay out. I would say they want to stay out of legal trouble, but they keep getting into that too. They don't want the fans to say the league it's racist against black people. That's what they don't want. That's why they use the media to try to convince us otherwise. It said Chesney would never be a prime yes man. That's what disqualified him. Okay. I knew he wanted to work there. Whatever you hear him saying, that's what they saying on channels that we don't watch because we don't live like they do. We don't have the same philosophy about life. The rat will eventually attempt to steal the cheese while the cat looks on. Facts. It said that boy wig, a lot of us are moving differently. Yeah, you gotta move differently. It's just what it is. Hopefully we'll understand that and begin to move different. We need to get back to us. Yeah. When it comes to the NFL, I hate to tell y'all, but these guys, they feel like it's worth it for whatever they go through to keep going through it. And I was looking at one of the players that plays for Philadelphia because I knew I wasn't going to watch the game. And he came in with his hat on, and he had his wife or his fiance and his 2 kids' name on the hat. And I said, this is why I support players and not the teams. As long as you have the media enabling the NFL and its racism, and you have the players thinking that the bag is worth it to go through everything that they're going through, then it's going to continue. So tomorrow when we regroup tomorrow, I have a clip of a video I want to play on the dangers of staying in the NFL in a situation like Shadour's. This is why we got to keep supporting Shadour, showing him love on his channel. Cleveland has realized Shadour's fans not paying him no mind, so they show pictures of Shadour throwing the ball to Gage for the first time. And people like, so what? We don't care. It's like Target. We found something else to do. We're not coming back until you treat him right. And that's the right thing to do. That's the right thing to do. The media is not going to ever be 100% hold the NFL accountable. The players are not, because they know what it is before they get there. They saw the draft. They know the quarterback situation, but they still think it's worth it. It's got to be us. That, like this weekend, I say we boycott the Browns, right? I said we boycott the Browns and just don't watch that game. Yes, I'm going to go support Travis. I'm going to go support Jimmy. I'm going to go support BJ Green. And I'm going to support LeJontay. And I'm going to check in on Zay Weaver, right? Because for those guys, it's not an easy road, but everybody's situation is not as toxic and blatant as Shadour. So they think it's worth it. And remember, Shadour's a quarterback. Shiloh didn't even have it this rough. It's just they set him up and he took the bait. And he got to deal with that on his own self because he should have known to look for the bait. He should have known to look for the bait. You see, Shadour got all these people around him, right? That help him to understand what it's really about. And that's why he's going to be okay. But tomorrow, we're going to look at the dangers of being in a situation like Shadour's and what it can do to the players. And I think it has the same thing a lot of NFL people whose lives go off the rails when they leave is because they were in the same type of situation. All right, y'all, we're going to get out of here. Oh, thank you, Melissa. Thank you. We'll be out of here, and we'll be back tomorrow during the day or maybe the evening or whatever. But whenever we come back, we're talking about Shadour. Again, stay away from the game. I don't care if you're in Cleveland. Stay away from the game. Go find something else to do. They didn't want to respect Shadour, so we're not going to show them any type of attention. Just go to Shadour page and show him some love. Watch his stories. Leave him some hearts or whatever. And that's it. Just love on Shadour. But don't stay away from that game this weekend. They only trying to bait us in because their engagement is drying up. And the tickets aren't really popping like they thought. All right, y'all. We're going to get out of here. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. I appreciate it. Thank y'all so much. Thank you, Perry. Y'all have a good night. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Be sure to join our daily live stream and
Listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video.